This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. There are a whole bunch of things that Republicans and conservatives all across the country claim to hold dear. Ideologies they claim to adhere to. Limited government, family values, the rule of law, rah, patriotism, the flag, the Constitution, all of these symbols, the Pledge of Allegiance, the national anthem. It's all very jingoistic. And while they claim to adhere, especially in this case, what we're going to talk about today, the rule of law, the sanctity of our democracy or our constitutional republic, which they bang on about all the time, even though these are things that they claim to hold dear, they violate them on a daily basis. They are projection artists in this way. But there are a few conservatives out there who seem to really hold true to this ethos. Remember during the House Select Committee's hearings on the January 6th insurrection, and Judge J. Michael Luttig was his name. He was the guy who spoke very slowly, very deliberately. He chose his words almost excruciatingly carefully.
That passage in my statement this morning referenced the most foundational concept in America, which is the rule of law. Thus, as I interpret your question, you are asking about that foundational truth of these United States, which we call America. The foundational truth is the rule of law. That foundational truth is, for the United States of America, the profound truth.
He sent out a series of tweets in response to what is taking place with Donald Trump and the indictments. He gave a statement to Jamie Gangel. I think that's her name. She works for CNN. And I want to read this tweet thread. It's like 7 tweets, very short, but I want to read it because I think it lays bare and exposes conservatives, the mainstream MAGA, Donald Trump conservatives, as what they are, liars and fake patriots. Because this set of tweets is patriotism. This is what they claim to be about, what they claim to represent, what they claim to hold dear. Here's how it started. I was traveling yesterday, but I gave CNN's Jamie Engel, a statement on the indictment of the former president for his efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election and for the January 6th attack on the United States Capitol. Among other things, I said, now, before I move on and read the rest of these, I want to impress upon you just how careful this man is with his words. Every single word in these sentences was chosen carefully by him. He's a former federal judge on the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit. He's a big deal in conservative jurisprudence, a very big deal. Appointed by H.W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush's father, so many years ago. He is not some liberal. He's not Ketanji Brown Jackson or some other vilified by the right liberal justice. This guy embodies what it means to be a conservative in this world. This is and remember, he's talking about the indictment of Donald Trump. This is an historic, tragic, and regrettable day for America. This day is all the more tragic and regrettable because the former president has cynically chosen to inflict this embarrassing spectacle on the nation. And a spectacle it will be. For the first time in American history, an American president will be on criminal trial in multiple venues, federal and state, during a presidential campaign in which he will be the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party for the presidency of the United States of America. January 6th and the effort to overturn the 2020 presidential election, together with the first criminal trials of an American president, will now become singularly infamous events in American history. These events will forever scar and stain the United States, and they will forever scar and stain the United States in the eyes of the world. Never again will the world be inspired by America's democracy in the way that it has been inspired since America's founding almost 250 years ago. Now, some of this is a little ahistorical. We haven't really truly been a democracy since, well, maybe ever, but technically since the 60s. Certainly since the 20s, when women got the right to vote. But voting rights weren't really secured for black people in America until about the 60s. So a little ahistoricity here. But this is patriotism, my friends. This isn't patriotism. It's not masturbatory, jingoistic nonsense in an effort to convince everybody that you love America. Because if you truly loved America, conservatives, Republicans, Trump Republicans, that's most of them, you would love the country and demand that democracy stand. You wouldn't be saber rattling for an end to democracy in America. You wouldn't want Donald Trump inserted as president, even though he lost the election by 7+ million votes. You wouldn't be advocating for a serial criminal. Again, here's a 45-page, 4-count federal indictment on his efforts to overturn the election in 2020. And yet, it's crickets from the peanut gallery of Republicans. There's only 2 Republican candidates for president who have spoken sideways of Donald Trump. Chris Christie and Asa Hutchinson, and then a little bit maybe Mike Pence, whose life was literally threatened that day, while a hangman's gallows was just 1,000 feet from where he stood. Republicans want to act like they're the law and order party. They're the Constitution party. They're the God and freedom party and liberty and all of these buzzwords again. But we know the truth. And anybody who has their eyes open, who's actually looking at this through an unfiltered shit lens, knows. Anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate it. I'd love to know what you think about this. Did you read this tweet? What do you think about this guy and his thoughts? You can leave a comment below. You can also call and leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, as always, you can absolutely email me daily at dollemore.com. Thank you, Michael Luttig. I am someone who does appreciate your point of view on this. I think you're wrong on many other things politically, but this set of tweets was welcome. If you appreciate what I do and you want to help support my work, please click that join button below. Become a channel member for $2 a month. I get asked a lot. People will say, $2, what's that going to do in the comments or in emails, voicemails? And if I'm able to marshal the size of my, we could fundamentally change this operation, grow this operation inexorably if we could get 2%, let's say, of people who are subscribed to become channel members for $1.99 a month. So think about it. You can also hit the super thanks button or go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore everywhere, and I will see you next time. A lot of hand movements today, huh? Or maybe that's all the time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.